Welcome, Magical One. Spring is beginning to sing her song here on the farm. Oh my goddess, this is my 33rd time celebrating Spring Equinox, what I've called Ostara over the years and what I've landed on as Springtide. Hexa here, I want to share with you ways to celebrate Ostara even if you still find yourself tucked in by a blanket of snow. In honor of the harmony and balance that spring brings, I'll be recommending TV shows and movies, books, fiction and non, divination, eco-witchery, herbal crafting for spring green witchery, my personal musings on celebrating the wheel of the year during spring as a natural practitioner, and finally, 5 magical workings / spells for bringing balance and harmony into your life. TV series and movies for the spring season. I have chosen 2 series to share with you that I think you'll really enjoy. The first series I want to recommend to you is on BritBox, which I watch a lot of, and it's Rosemary and Thyme. This is like the British Murder, She Wrote. You get to see all these amazing gardens in the countryside and these different villas around Europe.
We identify the body in the well from the pacemaker serial number, as you so kindly suggested.
Everywhere they go, murder seems to follow, and they are the ones solving it.
Trish knew about the body in the well, and the Binghams killed her to stop her from saying anything. What do you mean?
One of the things I love about this series is that it is about 2 older women who find their way together through a twist of fate, and they're in this change of life, creating their own landscape business and kind of struggling to get by. I just absolutely love it. I'm almost to the end of it. I've been slowing down to savor it because I only have a few episodes left. Rosemary and Thyme will inspire your gardening adventures. It's an easy watch, and it's about 2 women that are in our age group, which is really great. The second series I want to recommend is right here on YouTube, and it is Victorian Farm. 3 archaeologists go back and they stay in a Victorian home and live as Victorians for 3 seasons. You can learn so much by watching this on how they did things. Animal husbandry, farming, gosh, how did they make lime way back when? I always find when I watch this series that I get inspired to get back to the land. It just kind of brings me back to myself and makes me want to do things in the old-fashioned way. And before you know it, I'm looking at the world with simplicity. And I think during the springtime, we need that. We need to kind of get back to the land, get back to simplicity, let go of the heaviness of life that's been weighing us down. We've been stuck indoors all this time. We're ready to get out and do something new. This series is fascinating. I just love all the history and the way that they used to do things, and you learn so much from it. Victorian Farm right here on YouTube. Books for springtime. I have 2 fiction and 2 witchy books to learn with. First up on my list is the Lost Queen series. Oh my gosh, I love this series. I've been working on it for a long time. One of the reasons I chose this series to recommend to you is, first of all, the writing is luscious. It is just so dreamy. The series takes place in the 6th century. It chronicles the lives of women and the choices that they've had to make during this time. It's a story that brings you into understanding how each of us is born to play a part in this world. I think this outlines the pain and sorrow and joy of surrendering to our fates, and how when we do that, we can maximize the life that we're living in. Another reason I chose this series is that it is on Audible and the narration is fabulous. During Ostara season, we are getting out and wanting to do things. We're cleaning our homes. We're doing all sorts of stuff. So I wanted to suggest this audio. One of the things I love about Signe Pike's writing is that it's very historical. So she has studied and studied and studied and written in epic battles and poems. She weaves in the Arthurian legends in a way that feel like really down to earth and relatable. Like it takes it out of the fantasy realm and into the reality realm of how these characters may have emerged and become these incredible characters in history that we so idolize. If you want to be swept away, the prose of this book, her diction is so luscious. It is such a feast for the mind. Signe Pike's The Lost Queen series is fabulous. Next up on my list is by Dr. Clarissa Pinkola Estes. You probably remember her as the woman who wrote Women Who Run with the Wolves. The book is Late Bloomer. You can only get this on audio. They have it on Sounds True. They have it on Audible. I chose this book because if you are probably like 35 or older and thinking about, did I miss it? Did I miss my calling? Is it too late for me? This is really about being the late bloomer and what it means to be a late bloomer. As always, first of all, her voice is like butter. She's going to take you through the lessons of being a late bloomer through story. When we learn through story, we connect in a way that is so primal, that goes deep within us and speaks to our soul. Springtime is often about reinvention. So if you're looking to reinvent yourself, again, you're a little bit older and maybe you're wondering, did I miss it? Listen to this book. It will inspire you to new heights. Books for the natural practitioner. First up on my list is by Liz Dean, and it's Nature's Hidden Oracles. This little book is super powerful. If you have been wanting to learn about augury, which is this reading of omens and signs, this book is really going to get you there. What I love about this book is that it doesn't tell you exactly what everything means. It helps you to develop your own way of reading omens and signs. So in this chapter, it's teaching about flower augury, and it'll talk to you about looking at the stem and the petals and reading it. It gives you different prompts. It gives you rituals. Here in the stem section, like here, it talks about reading sticks. And so it'll talk to you about gathering the sticks and then throwing the sticks or seeing them on the ground. And then it gives you ideas for how to look at it and interpret it. So this is about growing your own lexicon of signs. It does have some tables with different colors and meanings of flowers. This has reading tree leaves, bark and branches, flower divination, herb scrying, reading rocks, pebbles, and witch stones. And then there's all sorts of other stuff in here. What I love is how this book is going to invite you into your own natural witchery, your own mysticism. It's not about memorizing somebody else's correspondence, but it's teaching you yourself how to dig in and read the signs that are out there. I think that reading signs and omens is something that is really fun to develop as a skill. It's something that you can do if you're in the city or if you're in the country. This book is going to inspire you and getting you looking at the world with the eyes of a diviner. I actually have 2 more books, the last one being a bonus. Right here, Grow Your Soil by Diane Meisler. This book is fabulous. If you've ever wanted to know about soil science, but you don't want it to be too sciencey, this is your book. Big writing. It's got an incredible metaphor for learning all about soil science in here. It talks all about building the soil, how to feed the inhabitants in the soil, compost and compost teas, where do I start, and even repairing your soil. As natural practitioners, I think it's important for us to know how to work with the earth. If you have even a small piece of land or are thinking about that someday, this book is going to give you everything that you need to know to build your soil and create a healthy environment to grow. As I said, one more bonus book, and that is Tarot Apothecary by Eileen Halverson. I've spoken about this book before, but I wanted to talk about it again. It has different herbs for the major arcana, and then it has like these court cards that go with it as well. If you're into tarot, this is such a great book as we go into the spring. You can create the teas that are in here for working with the tarot. This is going to take you in a new direction and light up your mind in a new way when working with the tarot, and it's going to deepen your practice. I'm so impressed by the concept of this book and how the information is really quite different than anything else out there. Tarot Apothecary, which leads me into Divination. I'm going to recommend 2 decks to you and a spread that you can use for Ostara. First up on the list is Tarot of the Witch's Garden by Sasha Graham. As usual, Llewellyn provides a stunning book with full color pictures of all the cards, not just some. You'll find in this, they have the astrological associations with the card, a little chant in here, the description of the card and how you can look at it. It has the key words for the cards upright and reversed, as well as this great little question at the end. So in this one, it says to write the reversal, ask, and you have this great question. This is one of my favorite death cards ever. Sasha does such a great job. I find the divine feminine and masculine aspects, the goddess and god, are balanced in here, and this is a gentle, friendly reader. Perfect for spring and the joyfulness of the season. Next up on the list is the Avalonian Oracle by Jenna Tellendrew. You probably haven't seen this oracle because it is not very mainstream. I first worked with this oracle in 2024 on my trip to Wales. I wouldn't recommend this to draw every day because the lessons are so intense in it. This book is like a practice, honestly. In the beginning, it goes through the structure of the book. It's got the different moons that you follow. There's so much that you can learn about the Avalonian way if that's something that you're interested in. The structure of the book itself, it takes you through the card description up here, which tells you about what's going on in the card, which I really appreciate. Any key words for the card. It then goes into the quest. So this is what this card initiates you into. And then down here, you have the divinatory meaning, and then you get an affirmation for each card. I have found working with this deck that these affirmations are so powerful. Sometimes I will draw a card for the week, and then I will choose to read the affirmation every night before bed, and when I wake in the morning, I chant it and I look at the card, and it never fails that I go through something very deep and powerful. If you are looking for a deck to partner with for personal growth and move into your natural witchery in a new and profound way, I so appreciate the way Jenna writes and how she makes an invitation of each card for you to engage in the Avalonian mysteries. If you're looking for a spread to do on Ostara, I have a spread that I'll link down below that's on my other channel, Natural Witchery, and a printable copy of the spread is in my free learning library. Each of us has something that we're born with that we want to bring to this world, and one of the things that's really important to me is being an eco-witch. Because Ostara, or Spring Equinox, is the time when we look at creating balance, what's coming in and what's going out, I am suggesting a focus on garbage. And that's just paying attention to your garbage. How can you cut down on garbage? We have so much that we're consuming, and if we can do so in a way that brings less garbage, we're really going to be helping the environment and being the eco-natural practitioner that I think all of us are called to be as stewards of this planet. A few quick ideas for cutting down on garbage output. I purchased these cotton drawstring bags that I put my produce in, therefore I don't have plastic bags that I take home, and I always try to buy vegetables and produce that do not come in plastic. These are washable. I have had these for years, so they really last. They're an investment. You can get them as time goes on, and you can get them in different sizes. Spring lotion bars. First, choose the liquid oils that you'll want to use for your recipe. I'm using last year's infused calendula oil, and then I'm going to select essential oils that fit my need for my lotion bars. I'm using a scale here, but if you don't have one, there is a recipe in the description box with imperial measurements. Combine your beeswax and oils in a double boiler. When they're all melted, add your essential oils and pour into your molds. I have a selection of silicone molds because I make soaps as well. You can find multiple containers that will work for lotion bars, but muffin tins work great. Once you have your lotion bars cooled, you can simply take them and thwack them down on the counter, and they have a tendency to come out. If they don't, you can fill your sink with warm water and rest it in there. It'll just heat up the bottom enough to melt it so that when you do thwack it, it comes out. You don't have to do it too hard because you don't want them to break apart. As you create your lotion bar, you can see yourself coming into balance. If you want to add extra magic to your lotion bars as you're mixing your ingredients, try stirring clockwise for things that you're wanting your lotion bars to accomplish, or counterclockwise for things that you're wanting to undo in your life. You can chant or dance over your lotion bars. You can choose essential oils that have specific meaning for you. You can sit and meditate or pray or lay your hands on them or infuse them with sound. Once you remove your lotion bars, you'll want to keep them in a dry place, such as this wooden box, but you can keep them inside a jar. I think they're best used when you get out of the shower or tub because your skin is really warm and they come right off onto your skin. You can even make these right around the equinox or do them before the equinox and put them out the day of the equinox to get infused with that balancing energy of equal light and dark, or just make them anytime during Ostara season. So why celebrate the equinox? As I said, this is my 33rd year celebrating the equinox. I do not see myself separate from nature. The way in which I choose to tap into that connection is by marking the seasons and cycles within the world and connecting them to my own body. The equinoxes are about equal amounts of light and dark hours during the day. They're times of equilibrium. I'm wondering if you're hearing the call to weigh things in your life right now, to step up and really take stock of what's working and what's not working. What needs to be removed? What needs to stay? What do you need to let go of? What do you need to receive? All of life is change. Affording myself the space to check in with where I am in my change and what I want to consciously change is what it means to me to be a natural practitioner. I move into my greater power by acknowledging where I'm at and consciously working with it. The Sabbats really give me that space to mark time, to sit down, to drive a tent peg and say, this is who I am and this is what I'm doing with my life. We live in terribly busy times. As a culture, everything moves so fast and we are inundated with so much stimuli. The equinox allows you to come back to yourself, take stock, weigh what needs to be weighed, discard what needs to be discarded. Allow there to be a moment to receive from the earth and the universe, the YO universe, what is next on your path. It's a time of sowing. It's a time of clearing the land. Spring is a dichotomy of lighting the fire on one day and it being too hot in the afternoon not to have the windows open here in Oregon. Spring is a time of contrast, and it calls us to find our equilibrium. Every Sabbat calls you to slow down, hold up the mirror of nature, and see how it is reflected in you. The spring equinox prepares you to head out into the world, to be in the sun, to bring things into the light, and to honor that which is growing. May you never forget the power and joy of honoring the wheel. May you always recognize yourself in the splendor of nature all around and sing the wheel in your own unique way, for you are a sign and a wonder. Sparkle and shine. What would a Sabbat be without magical workings? So I have 5 magical workings for you to try out, and I know there has to be something in here that you'll enjoy. First up on the list is a simple planting spell. Write out your petition for what it is that you're wanting to sow into your life and harvest in the future. Plant inside a pot or outside in your yard. If you don't have a garden, you can always do this in a house plant. You can plant an established plant. Whoopsie, I meant get a plant from a nursery and plant it yourself. Don't dig one up. Or use seeds that you have on hand. As you place your petition in your pot or in the ground, placing your plant within, imagine yourself planting your intention, sowing your energies down into the earth in perfect love and perfect trust. Tend and care for your plant with your heart's intention. Simply tend your plant and watch your magic come to fruition. If you're looking to create more harmony and balance in your life, then let me recommend a Harmon Aqua Spritzer. Yep, I made that word up, but it works well. I did not want to be borrowing a word from an established tradition. Meditate on the harmony and balance that you are looking to attract into your life and create. Then spend some time gathering herbs, crystals, and magical objects that you'll be using inside your Harmon Aqua spray. How you design this spell is totally up to you. Keep in mind as you're building your spell that you want to choose objects that have clear significance to you, that you feel a personal connection to. Once you've gathered all of your materials, you'll place them inside the jar. Fill the jar halfway with vodka and halfway with water. If you have water from a mystical spring somewhere, you may want to add that, or from a specific place that brings you peace, maybe a river or a lake that you know of. Seal your jar up, and now it's time to charge it. You can decide astrologically when you want to put it out, a couple days before the equinox, all the way through the equinox and after, to gather all those between energies. You may want to put a petition inside the jar. You may want to place oracle cards on top or underneath the jar to charge it as well. You may want to put sigils on the jar It's totally up to you. The idea is to charge the water with the herbs, crystals, and elements that you've gathered. Once you finish charging your Harmon Aqua water, you can keep it on your altar. You can see that I keep it here. Some people like to strain everything out and repurpose the crystals or little elements that are in there, giving the herbs back to the earth. When I need to refill my spritzer bottle, I just use a funnel and fill my spritzer bottle up, straining out anything as I go. You can then use the spritzer water around you to clear the air and bring harmony into your auric field. I just want to have a little caution here that certain stones are toxic, like I wouldn't soak malachite in water and then spray that on my body. Selenite will melt, so be sure that you're not using toxic crystals in the water and then spraying it on your body. You may want to just put those crystals on top while you're charging the water. The vodka is in here to preserve everything and keep it from molding, so don't go spraying this in your eyes. And if you're curious what the last 3 magical workings are, then you can check out this video to see them. As always, step up and be yourself, sparkle and shine. The world really needs you to be you. Until we meet again.